Hi, I'm Jeff Miller, the pastor at the Belton First United Methodist Church in Belton, Texas. My Christian journey began really back in December 1979 in the Los Angeles Forum at a Fleetwood Mac concert. Now, in case you don't know, Fleetwood Mac is not necessarily a Christian rock group. I was at that concert with my oldest brother and his wife and their babysitter, who graciously accepted to come along as my date for that evening. And when I first told my brother and sister-in-law that I was going to ask her to go to the concert, they kind of laughed, they chuckled a little bit at me like there wasn't a chance that she would go with me. And it wasn't, so much because of my looks or my stunning, my just great personality I have, but it was because it was not a Christian concert, it was a secular rock concert, and her and her family, they were very devout Christians. And they doubted that her parents would let her go to a concert. But she was able to come, and she came, and after the concert, we went out to a restaurant, had coffee, and she started telling me, she started sharing with me about how Jesus was active in her life. Now, I knew about Jesus, I believed that Jesus was real, but this was a little different. I didn't really have a close, what I was saying, active, zealous relationship with Jesus. But she shared about that, then invited me to church, and then in that coming January, I made a commitment and committed my life to Christ. But it was what that I experienced at that church that really did it. It was a little different than a Methodist church. They had a time when people would stand up and share what God and Jesus were doing in their life and how it was active. And that was something different that I'd ever experienced. Hearing people say what Jesus and God are doing in their life each day and during the week. And it's because of that I committed my life to Christ. Now, sometimes it's good for us to remember how God is active in our lives. In Paul's letter to the church at Philippi that we're kind of working through on our devotional, Paul says, after he says, I thank my God every time I mention you in my prayers. He says, I'm thankful for you every time I pray, and it's always a prayer full of joy. And he says, I'm sure about this. The one who started a good work in you will stay with you to complete the job by the day of Jesus Christ. Let me read that again. That's Philippians 1:6. I'm sure about this. The one who started a good work in you will stay with you to complete the job by the day of Jesus Christ. And Paul is reminding the people of the good work that God had started in them, that God was doing in them. I think sometimes it's good for us to be reminded of the good work that God is doing in our lives. Now, some of you know that I love to give a Greek word in the devotional or Greek word for the week. And this week it's that word for work. It's ergon. And, if you kind of get bothered by these Greek words that we use, God bless Dr. Jerry McCant from Point Loma Nazarene College, who took a lot of time to get me through Greek, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7:30 in the morning. God bless him. But that word, it's about zealous activity. God's creative work, and it's about God's zealous activity in our lives. And it is kind of linked back to the root of the word that is used in the very first creation story. And so it reminds us that the work that God is doing, and I think for today in the midst of this global pandemic, with anxiety and insecurity all being there, that God's creative work is that God brings order out of chaos. God brings order out of chaos. God shines light into the darkness. God brings fruitfulness into scarcity, and God brings life into barrenness. God brings order out of chaos. God shines light into the darkness. God brings fruitfulness into scarcity, and God brings life into barrenness. Paul says, I am sure about this, that one who started this good work, this good work in you, will continue it, will bring it to completion and stay with you to complete the job and keep doing that work until Jesus Christ returns. Sometimes it's good for us to remember the good work that God is doing in our lives. And so I'm going to ask you to take a few minutes after this devotional or later on today. And I want you to write down the good, zealous work that God is doing in your life. Write down at least 3 things. Now these might be, and I want a little different nuance on it, other than things that we're thankful for, like thankful for God for our family, thankful for God that, whatever. But no, what is that zealous work that God has been doing in your life? Write down 3 things. Keep them with you, put them by your bedside, or put them on a post-it on your mirror. So each and every day you'll be reminded of the work that God's doing in you. Because I am confident of this for each and every one of you. That good work that Christ Jesus has begun in your life is continuing today. That good work of God in creation, bringing order out of chaos, bringing light into the darkness, bringing fruitfulness into scarcity, and life into barrenness, is continuing that work this day for you right now. I'm confident of that. I hope you are too.